up. Now, performance-wise, the Google Pixel 4 of that year had the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, which was the latest chipset at the time from Snapdragon. They also had the Adreno 640 GPU and 6 gigs of RAM on each model. And here's the other issue that I have with it, and it's probably another huge issue, and it's probably another humongous issue. There was only 2 different storage models of this device, the 64 gig and the 128 gig models. There was no, 256, and there was no micro SD card slot on this thing either. So you were pretty tapped out of storage on this thing, even with the top tier model. So that was another big issue in my opinion. Now, performance-wise, overall, you're going to be getting a pretty smooth performing phone for the most part. Like I said before, I don't think the performance was a bad thing on this phone. I mean, it had pretty good RAM, and because it was a Pixel phone, it didn't have a lot of background processes. You could pretty much just, even have a little bit less RAM than the Galaxy S10 that came out the same year, but still get better RAM management performance, mostly because Android 10 was optimized for the Pixel 4 at that time, and it gave you a much better experience. So that's another pretty big thing to keep in mind. The performance you're going to get from the Pixel 4 overall is going to be much better than the performance that you're going to be getting from really any other device for the most part, respectively, from this year. You know what I mean? I think obviously like the OnePlus 7 Pro is going to be better, but when you mix in, the RAM this thing had and the smoothness factor with that 90 Hz refresh rate, I think that was definitely one of my favorite aspects for sure. The Galaxy S10 of that year didn't have, a higher refresh rate. The OnePlus 7 Pro had a higher refresh rate, but the software still, I take that back. I think the OnePlus 7 Pro, the 7T Pro, those were the faster phones of that year, but the Pixel 4 was still surprisingly smooth. It was still surprisingly fast, and I definitely don't think the performance was a bad thing about the Pixel 4 of that year. So in terms of performance, that pretty much covers it up.